Hello everyone. It's been a couple weeks, but I've now moved into my new place. Nice 2-car garage, super excited about that. But in today's video, we are going to be finally diagnosing the engine. Off camera, I did end up removing the radiator shroud, and same for the fan. This really sucked. I had help from my girlfriend. So with that being said, it is finally time to check if this engine turns over or not. I still don't know if it does turn over, if I'm going to proceed with trying to start it. But I will at least take a socket, put it right there, and see if it turns over. If it turns over pretty smoothly, that's a great sign that it's not seized. But yeah, so I guess pretty excited about this video. Not sure how long it's gonna take, but I'm gonna see if this turns over now. Well, here we go. Okay. Tough to say. Well, now I'm gonna try and turn it over, I guess. Dude. Alright, it's been about a week since the last clip, and I've gotten a lot of parts. So I guess I'll just start off by showing what I have gotten so far. So, picked up the LSD. This bolt was really stripped. So I did hammer a socket to it. And I do need to actually replace this bolt, which I do have the bolt to replace it. I'll show that later. But this LSD has like max shop aluminum bushings for the front and then also the side. I don't care for it, so I'm gonna remove these. But yeah, like to check if it's an LSD, if you move one side, the other side moves with. It's kind of tough right now, but oh well. I hope it's actually an LSD, not just like a welded diff. I do plan to maybe tear into removing the cover and seeing if it is indeed an LSD, but I think it is. We'll see though. And then I also picked up an engine hoist in case I need to rebuild the rx7, which I am planning on it, which I need to do my compression test, which I'll get into more. But I picked up this engine hoist on Craigslist, so I'll probably be using this. And then I also got the fourth wheel. I was missing the fourth wheel / I just have a spare on it. So whenever this car is operational, I will put this on. Alright, then this is the second half of the stuff I've gotten since the last clip. So I got me a rotary compression tester. This is kind of expensive, but I got an eBay gift card from work, so that helped a lot. But also, so let me just open this up. So I will be compression testing it now, actually. I did get some oil. I will squirt in the spark plug holes, but I did get a compression tester. You know, I don't really know what I will gain from compression testing it now. Because, you know, I've seen online that like compression testing an engine that's been sitting for a long time, who knows if it's even beneficial. But I am still going to do it. I will probably still rebuild my engine anyways, but I'm hoping to at least maybe see a reason why I should be pulling it, or we'll see. I'll get more into that later. And then I also got my replacement fill bolt for the differential because it was so stripped. So I'll be replacing that. Also got a washer right there for it. And then I did get an engine. This is a rotary engine stand adapter. So I got this. It's really heavy, but this is the adapter you need to run if you're gonna put a rotary engine on an engine stand, which I don't have yet, but I can find that no problem. Came with these for it. And then I also got this massive socket. This is a 54mm socket, and this is for the flywheel bolt or nut to remove when in the engine. So honestly, with that all being said, I think I actually have almost everything needed to pull the engine, except for like the engine stand, but like everything online that I need to get, I have gotten. I know I could probably find a socket like this local, but I doubt I could find this local. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. And then for like now, I am going to compression test it. I'm gonna start off by pulling one of the spark plugs. Oh, that's gonna be rough. And putting some oil in there and seeing, then hand cranking it just to lubricate it. I'm gonna put some 2-cycle oil or like premix in it, just not a whole lot. So yeah, I'm gonna start doing that now. Oh man. All right, I got the front trailing spark plug, and then the rear housing spark plug, and they're both looking pretty dirty. Honestly, these definitely need replaced. However, this one, like, my main concern really is that if these looked rusty, and this one definitely does not, and this one does not as well. Yeah, this one does not look rusty at all, which is super good. So yeah, so now I'm gonna put some oil in the spark plug hole and turn it by hand, and then do the compression test. I'm not gonna do a whole lot of oil because that can inflate numbers, which is not what I want. So yeah, I just want to lubricate everything. So this is the oil I'm using of my choice, I guess. So yeah. All right, so I've now gotten the compression tester into the trailing spark plug, and I'm kind of going to try my best to describe how the compression tester will work. So if the compression is enough, like enough to meet the bare minimum, or not even the bare minimum, what kind of the bare minimum? Anyways, this compression tester will, there will be 3 numbers. It'll be like 1, 2, 3. 3 numbers will be shown there during the test, and that's for each number represents the compression of the face of the rotor. And I kind of made a little illustration here to kind of try my best to explain how I understand compression. So imagine this is a housing. There's 2 housings in a 13B engine. And in each housing there is the rotor, which is a little triangle right here. I know my drawing's not very good. And in each housing, you know, there's 3 faces for a triangle, 1, 2, 3. And each of these faces have compression, air compression to the housing or something. Not really sure. So that's what each of the 3 numbers will represent of 1 face, 2 face, 3 faces. And really what I'm looking for here is that these numbers are at least consistent between the 3 numbers. And like the apex seals, the springs make up the compression. And really what I'm looking for is that all the numbers are consistent between the 3. Because if it is, like, the consistency is more important between just, say, like low compression between all 3. Because, you know, if there is, say, like 2 faces is consistent, but the 3rd one's very low, that means most likely an apex seal is bad, or some sort of like seal is bad. Which, you know, if that happens, great. That would, you know, give me my answer of why maybe this person parked it 20 years ago. But yeah, I guess that was kind of my demonstration. I'm gonna try doing the amazing depression tester right here. That's what people call it.
So I unfortunately recorded this compression tester part in like 2x speed. So I actually didn't even get the audio or anything, but I'll explain these numbers real quick. So these numbers are consistent, which is what we're primarily looking for. And honestly, the numbers at face value is super good. 100 is the sound of a very healthy engine. However, these numbers may be a bit inflated because of the two-cycle oil, and also with it being cold. For a proper compression tester, the engine needs to be warmed up, and no two-cycle oil. But don't care about the numbers itself, just the consistency across the three faces. So this is a good sign so far.
All right, here we go. Ugh. I definitely put way too much in. That's way too high. We'll see. I don't know what to do now. So it's been a few days. I shaved. But I have decided that I'm going to actually go forward with trying to start the rx7 instead of just going straight to rebuild. Maybe this engine's okay after all. I'm a little concerned if there's like a broken coolant seal, but I feel like I would have seen, the compression reflecting or compression being bad because of rust, or at least the spark plugs being rusty, but they weren't really. So I ordered a bunch of parts. I ordered spark plugs, wires, fuel pump, because I know the fuel pump's not working. I don't know the condition of the fuel pump or the fuel tank. We'll see. But in the meantime, while I wait for that to arrive, I am going to replace the fill bolt on the differential. Ooh. All right, so I got the socket out, and as you can tell, this thing was cooked. Or I got the bolt out. I'm hoping I can actually, I think I saved the socket, which is super nice, but this thing is cooked. All right, it's been a few days. Chris is recording right now. And we've gotten some parts for the rx7. We got oil filter, spark plugs, both trailing and leading. We got a spark plug wire kit, got a fuel pump, got a fuel tank gasket, got an intake manifold gasket, and now I'm going to be installing the fuel pump.
Oh.
Well, at least maybe not installing, but I'm going to be removing the fuel pump from the fuel tank. Mm-hmm. Today I'll be removing the fuel pump just to see the condition of the gas tank. Hopefully it's not too rusty. So I've already started removing some stuff. I do need to disconnect these hoses, which are really rough, really hard. So hopefully that's not too annoying. But I guess first, yeah, I'm gonna remove this. Hopefully it's not too rusty. I mean, I assume the gas is 20-year-old gas, so not looking good. Oh, nice, we got one. Right, so we have now removed these fuel lines right here. And I have removed the screws. So now I'm actually going to remove the fuel pump itself. And this is the part where I'm hoping it's not rusty. I'm hoping it's not rusty or crusty. So yeah. Oh,
yo,
dude. You'll feel warm. This is the thing that I need to replace. Oh man, it's pretty crusty. I won't lie. Oh, that sucks. So I guess now I need to drain the gas. I guess now. I'm sorry. I guess now I need to drain the gas tank. So that's not fun. All right, boys. It's been a few days. However, the rx7 is now on jack stands. So now I will finally be draining the gas. I got this little tub from Home Depot, and then I'm going to drain the gas into this tub, and then probably just drain the tub into these, and then dispose of it at a station. So that's what I'm gonna do. Progress has been pretty slow, but I'm hoping to drain this, and hopefully it goes well, and then I'll go ahead and pull the gas tank. So that'll be fun. That is some gross fuel. Okay, so the gas is now drained. Drained it into the gas can. I wish I recorded it, but I didn't. So now Chris is here again to help me. We're now gonna be pulling the gas tank. And we need to start off by removing this and removing the overfill thing. I don't know, something right there. We need to remove that. Then we can start unbolting the gas tank and dropping it. All right, I got this removed. Dude, it sucked. I'm sweating. I'm so sweaty, but it's removed. So now I'm gonna go underneath, and there's some straps that the gas tank is connected to. I need to remove those. I think I need to remove like a gas tank shield or something. So yeah, I'm gonna do it now. Alright, the gas tank is now out. I was having a tough time. I found out that there's a hose still connected right here, which is this right here. And I removed the screws, and I didn't think I could remove it. And then I tried like cutting right there, couldn't cut it, and then it just popped out. So great. So I should remove this line. I was planning on removing these two fuel lines regardless. This has low impact, but this one's still like rock hard. So I guess I'll remove these. Not gonna be fun, but at least the gas tank is not in the way. So yeah, now I need to get some vinegar and put it in the gas tank. But I'm really dirty, so I'm probably gonna shower, take a break, and yeah, so cool. All right, y'all, it's been a few weeks since the last clip. I have pulled the gas tank, and now I am letting it sit to try and clean up the rust. I got 6 gallons of distilled vinegar with about like six gallons of water. Like a 1:1 ratio was the plan, and it's currently soaking. That looks really gross. So I'm gonna let it sit for 2 days. So tomorrow I'm gonna drain it out, try to flash it with like baking soda so it doesn't rust, and then I will then I'll try to apply some premix in here to make it so it doesn't rust, or that's the goal at least. But in the meantime, I'm going to replace some fuel lines. So I'm now back in the car, and I'm going to be replacing these 2 fuel lines. And then also this third one, which is not really a fuel line. I think it's something that like with evap or something. I'm not really sure, but I'm gonna be replacing these. It's not gonna be fun removing them. Hopefully, I don't even know how I'm going to go by this, but I'm gonna try removing them and then buying replacement lines. So yeah. All right, so I've gotten the hose out, and I went to AutoZone. I bought a roll of fuel line or fuel hose. Kind of nervous about the quality of the brand, or just the hose, I guess. So we'll see. But I cut out my first hose, I guess, and I transferred over the clips. So now I'm gonna try it and install this now, and you know, hopefully it lasts. We'll see. The hoses are now installed in the car, and I noticed there are so many like spiders, like a lot of spider nests. So hopefully none of them are alive. All right, everyone, it's the next day, and the gas tank has been soaking, looking really gross. So I'm gonna go clean it now. Well, drain it, then clean it. So my plan for this is to drain this, and then spray it with the pressure washer, and then immediately after that, use some baking soda to like neutralize it. Apparently it's supposed to like neutralize like the flash rust or something, and fill it up with water and all this baking soda, and then drain it once again. And then once that's done, I'm going to take this air compressor I just bought. I don't think I put it together. I don't think I installed it properly, this hose. But when it's on, that has a lot of PSI, so that's good. I'm gonna use that to try and get in like the crevices and all that. And then once that's all done, I'll go over it with the heat gun to just try and dry the water. Then once that's all done, I'm gonna try and like coat some of the inside of it, the gas tank, with this 2-cycle oil, which is what I use for premix anyways, to try and prevent flash rusting. But I'm not gonna record any of this just because I really need to act quick with that flash rusting and all that. But it's looking really gross, but I'll show an after, I guess. So wish me luck. All right, well, my backyard is now dirty. Wonder how that happened. Anyways, the gas tank, super clean now. Actually, very impressed with this vinegar and baking soda. Like, wow, it's looking minty. I did kind of forget to do like the filler neck, but I mean, it's okay. It doesn't look too bad. This thing's looking minty. So now I'm going to coat it with a 2-cycle to hopefully prevent rust. So I've now put some mix in there. Might have went a little overboard. Not really, actually. Honestly, even if I were to put a full tank of gas in right now, like the premix ratios would probably still be on the lighter side. So I'm not too concerned. But yeah, before putting that in, I do need to clean out this, whatever that is. I do need to clean it out. And then I also need to either buy so I'm gonna keep the little hose that connects to this big one, but the smaller one is this one. It's really dry rotted, like really badly, and I should replace it. But the only reason why I'm like hesitating is because there's like a little bit of like a U shape. So we'll see. I'm gonna check if the Mazda dealership has any fuel hoses for this, like a replacement part. They might, so we'll see. So it's the next day now, and now I'm going to be replacing this fuel pump with this one I got from Rock Auto. There are signs that this was replaced somewhat recently. Like, I know this is not the OEM fuel pump. So there's some signs. Should be okay. I do think I need like a new ground, like wire ground connector or something. So I might need to go to the store for that. But, so yeah, I'm gonna do that now, and hopefully it goes well. I've never replaced one of these before. So yeah. Alright, I've got the old one out. Pretty sure these are literally the same exact one, which I don't know if that's good or bad. Like, everything is identical. Same plug, same everything. I did crimp these, not very well, but I still think I'm gonna rock these instead of the old one, probably. So yeah, now I'm gonna install this. Fuel pump is now installed. I also installed a brand new Mazda gasket, but honestly, the one that was already on there is like, was fun. Well, wasn't amazing, but probably would have worked. So now I'm going to probably install it in the gas tank, and then I did order a gasket for this, so I'm just waiting for that, and then I will install the gas tank. All right, y'all, it's the next day. Now it is time to start working on the engine bay, and I would like to have this diagram with all like the vacuum hoses, and I would like to replace a lot of them right now. However, this is on like jack stands, and like I know it's like stable, but like my reach is not very, I can't reach very far, and I can't really go on that side since it's so close to the wall. So I'm gonna wait to mess with the vacuum hoses until I lower this, which I will do so after I install the gas tank, which I'm waiting on the gasket for this to come in. Should be here in a couple days. Then once that's here, I can install that. Then I also need to do a coolant, just drain the coolant, and then also do an oil change before dropping this. But in the meantime, I am going to replace the spark plug wires and also the spark plugs. So here, the old spark plug, new one. Yeah, pretty cooked. Same exact one though, so that's good. But yeah, pretty cooked. My light died, but this is the leading bottom spark plug. And also look how just dirty it is. So good thing I'm replacing these. Alright, I've replaced the wires and spark plugs. Looking good. I'm so sweaty. But yeah, so that's it for tonight. Tomorrow I think I'm gonna do an oil change, maybe a coolant flush, probably a coolant flush. But yeah, so see you then. Alright y'all, it's been a couple days since the last clip. I have not done an oil change yet on the RX7, but the part I was waiting for did show up. So this is a gasket that goes on this little breather thing. But anyways, I can now install this gas tank because I have this little gasket. So yeah, that's what I'm gonna work on today, installing the gas tank. So yeah. So this is the old one. I didn't even realize I actually still had it. And this is the new one. The new one is remanufactured, aftermarket, but it's like so much thinner. And honestly, this is still like in good shape. So waited for nothing. I'm just gonna use this, I guess. I've got the gas tank now installed and the little heat wrap behind it. Probably can't see from there by the diff. And then I also got these 2 hoses connected. So sweaty. We had a monsoon today, so it's super humid, but still super sweaty. So last thing for the fuel tank is to connect these 2 hoses. And then I am done. The fuel tank area, super excited. And then I'll work on oil change and then coolant flush. Well, just draining the coolant and then adding distilled water. And then I'll try and replace some hoses, and then we should be looking pretty good for the first start attempt. All right, fuel lines are connected. I don't know if I ever mentioned, but I did replace these with 50 PSI rated hoses, but then I think I saw that was too low of PSI for fuel injection. So I went back and actually got 100 PSI hoses instead. So hopefully these are good enough. Hopefully these hold. We'll see. I'm not sure if these clamps will hold, but oh well. And then I also connected fuel hose or fuel pump back in. I have no idea if this will actually work. I would right now go and turn the key on and listen for the fuel pump click, but I've seen different things online if the fuel pump actually turns on when you turn the key to on accessory. Not sure. So honestly won't know until I go to start it if it is pumping fuel or not. But super hyped about that. Fuel pump, fuel stuff is all done. I have the gas cap. Go ahead and yeah, it should be good. Okay. All right, boys. It's the next day, and the plan for today is to get the rx7 off the jack stands onto the ground. However, before doing so, I need to drain the coolant and then also drain the oil. So I'm gonna do both a coolant change and an oil change. I don't know if I'm going to actually fill up the fluids when it's in the air. I know it needs to be level. So I mean, both sides are up in the air, so I think it is level. Well, it's definitely somewhat level at least. I might do both, but at least I do need to at least drain both fluids. So I'm gonna do that today. So there's barely any coolant in there. And it's pretty fresh, honestly, pretty green. So I wonder if, rotaries are pretty known for blowing a coolant seal, which means that they basically leak their coolant through the exhaust. And there's not much coolant in there, and it's looks pretty clean, at least, the green. But maybe blown coolant seal, but not happy thoughts only, right? Hopefully. So, the last clip, coolant dripping all over there. Has me a little concerned. However, I see coolant on top of the engine. Maybe it's a hose or something? Not sure. I'm gonna do a little more investigation. So, quickly found out that this coolant hose, that was obviously not connected. So, I'm pretty sure this was just venting to right there. Well, it definitely was. So, hopefully there's not a coolant seal failure, but this does mean that I'm going to wait to fill the rest of the coolant until I have the intake on. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna drain the oil now. that there's a size difference. Oh well. Yeah, this thing was mangled. Well, I mangled it because it was so tight. So hopefully this is fine. Guess we'll see. So I did put the oil filter on. Probably gonna make a trip to the Mazda dealer to get an OEM one. Yeah, so in the meantime, I'm going to just drop the rear, or lower the rear, and then lower the front. So, progress, I guess. So, it's a few days later, and I actually went to the Mazda dealer to pick up this oil filter. It's only $7. But I don't know. I was starting to overthink with the new oil filter, just the way it sits, which honestly probably sits fine, but just I don't know. I was starting to overthink a little bit, so got this for pretty cheap. So I'm gonna install this now, and then fill it up with oil. Oil change is now done. However, it is time to replace some hoses. I already see, I think this is a fuel hose. This thing is so cooked. But I would also like to replace some of these intake hoses. And I do have like 13 feet of hoses for this. And I have this diagram I'm going to try and reference. So I guess I'm gonna start by, replacing some of these hoses. All right, I got this hose removed. It sucked. I just ended up cutting it, and that's so much easier since obviously I'm not reusing it. But when I was in here, I found my first ever scorpion right there. Hopefully y'all can see that. Yeah, I've been in Arizona for a couple years. I've never seen a scorpion, so I guess that was cool. But I am working on installing the main fuel injectors, the primary ones. I was looking at this diagram for a while and it was not making any sense, but I finally understand. I'm understanding this more now. I understand it now. So I need to install the primary injectors, which is right here. And that fuel hose I actually removed is this one right here. So I need to replace that. And then this one right here is this, which I should also replace that as well. But I need to make another trip to AutoZone to actually get more feet of hose. So yeah, I guess I'm just gonna start off doing that. There's a lot of intake hoses in there, and honestly, like I don't even know if this thing runs. So if I don't see any, like I'm just gonna replace only the ones that I know that are broken. So I want to get this running. If it even runs, who knows? It might be like a great idea to replace all of them now, but honestly, since I don't know the condition of the engine, like if it's healthy or not, I'm just gonna try and get it running with minimal work as possible, I guess. Oh my god. So I'm having a very rough time. I noticed a vacuum hose here broke, which was fine. I went to remove it on the other side. However, I found that on the other side of the vacuum hose was this thing. This thing has 4 vacuum hoses connected to this that like merges into one single one. However, 3 of them broke off. Love that. I have since gotten 2 of the little ports out of the hoses, the third one. And last one is this one. You can maybe barely see the little port on the inside. Obviously on this side there's the port's not there. So yeah, dude, it sucks. I kind of found out how to actually remove the hoses after the fact. So yeah, I think my plan is to remove this third one and see if I can like super glue it on and then reinforce it with Gorilla Glue. Kind of a bummer. So, and like all the hoses just like snapped in there, which I don't want the oil metering pump oil line to break, because if that breaks, that'll suck. But the vacuum hoses are like okay, because I have a bunch of vacuum hose by like the foot to replace. So yeah, that's fun. All right, I have now super glued the little ports back on. I'm going to go over it with some good old JB Weld. Please sponsor me, JB Weld. But I'm gonna let this dry for a little bit because I need this to cure like properly, because if it breaks again, not sure what I'm gonna do. So yeah. Found another scorpion. Well, while I wait for that to dry, I'm going to turn my attention to the interior. Sure, I could probably do some more stuff in the engine bay to min-max my time, but I want to, maybe take a little break and focus on the interior, more specifically the gauge cluster right here. My dash is not installed yet. However, when going for my first start, I would like to have the gauge cluster loosely installed. So I'm going to go ahead and install this. I don't know if I need to unplug this gauge shroud, which I also need to repair at one point, which I will. I don't know if I need to remove this before installing this. I assume I do, which, old electrical connectors, always a fun time to remove. All right, I got my gauge cluster in. I did remove this, however, it broke even more. I'm still going to try and super glue it, but bummer for sure. I'm probably just gonna leave it disconnected for leave this disconnected for now, because really all this was just my headlights, and then also turn signal, which turn signal is also broken. So probably just gonna leave it like this for now. I did want to put my headlights down before the first start, but whatever. All right, it is now the next day, and I really hope this holds. Like, really hope this holds, because if it doesn't, we'll tackle that later if it doesn't. But yeah, so now I'm going to try and install this now. Alright, now that that's installed, those hoses are installed, I'm going to now install the fuel injectors. I do need to figure out which connectors go to the primary front housing, primary rear housing. I saw online that really it's hard to mix them up. Like, the closest one will go, or like, so the primary front housing will sit like right here. So that kind of leads me to believe that this connector right here goes to that connector, and then the one for the primary rear housing would be this connector. I'm pretty sure that's right. I think I'm just gonna stick with that, honestly. So I was making good progress on this. However, I was getting ready to attach the throttle cable, and there's 2 bolts. One right here, and the other one is snapped in the intake manifold. So it's a lot of fun. But I have an extractor set. I'm gonna try and use this. Never had luck with this before, but definitely need 2 bolts instead of just one for the throttle, probably at least. So yeah, fun. All right, y'all, today's finally the day. We're gonna try and start this. However, before we try and start it, there's a few things we need to do. One thing is crossing off the list for the engine. We don't know if it's cooked or not cooked yet, but did drain the gas, did pull the gas tank, cleaned it, installed a fuel pump, replaced vacuum hoses, replaced some, so I'll count that. Spark plug, did that. Did the wiring for the spark plug, did an oil change, did a coolant change, and honestly, that's mostly it. I do need to go get some gas, so I'll go get some. But yeah, I'm also charging up the battery. So yeah, I'm gonna get some gas, put it in, then we'll revisit this. All right, I have put 3 gallons of gas in here. Kind of sucked, but it's in now. And I'm a fan here. Really have no idea what this is gonna do, but the idea is that if this starts, it will be super smoky. So maybe it'll just blow it that way. I don't know, but that's the plan. So now it is time to try and start it. I'm gonna try and build some oil pressure first before starting it, because I don't know when it was ran last. So what I need to do is I removed it's all 2 like EGI fuses, and this is apparently supposed to make it so the engine gets no fuel, apparently. So I'm gonna probably do that, probably crank it for 30 seconds to a minute. And then I think there is an oil pressure little gauge. So hopefully, you know, if this gauge even works or this cluster works, I'll at least see that. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna try it now. Yeah. All right, so already encountered my first issue. So I thought removing those fuels would, those fuses would disable the fuel pump. Don't think it did. And actually, there's like a fuel leak. I believe it's, so this rear injector is fine, but this secondary injector is not fine. I think it's not seated properly, so I need to remove this little tube and then get to it to make it maybe seat better or something. Yeah. All right, I have reseated the injectors. I didn't see anything wrong, so I'm just really hoping I don't know, hopefully this fixes it, because these are new seals and all that. So I'm gonna try it again. Kind of nervous, honestly, but yeah. All right, so I think that fixed it. I hope so. I cranked it a little longer and I didn't see any fuel leak, unless it's leaking from the primaries, which I hope not, because that sucks, because I can barely tell and it's actually really dangerous. But I think now I'm going to actually try for the start. I plugged in the fuses. So yeah, I guess here we go. It started by me and they shut off. All right, with it starting and then dying immediately, I think it's either a fueling issue or an air issue. And I did have a really big, I think, vacuum leak. There's supposed to be a tube or hose that goes from here to here. I could only find like heater hoses in this size, which maybe that is just the correct tube for it, not sure. But I did buy some block off caps, so maybe they'll do it something, not sure. I also would not be surprised if this is flooded, because when I was cranking it for a minute, you know, I thought it wasn't gonna get any fuel, but as we saw, it was getting fuel, like the fuel leak. So maybe it's flooded, so maybe I have to do a deflip procedure. We'll see. So I'm gonna try starting it again. Let's go. Okay, we're getting closer. This actually ran longer, but it doesn't want to idle. So I did replace those caps with a heater hose. It's so jank. It's not even the right size. It's definitely too small, but it's hopefully enough to at least determine if maybe it runs a little better. So yeah, let's see. I can't believe that was running without me even putting the gas on it or anything. It backfired a little bit, but oh my god. Let's go. You know, I don't know. You know, the coolant seals could slowly bad. Even there wasn't really actually any smoke coming out the back. I don't think so, really. But dude, I cannot believe. Oh man, it starts and it like the idle's still a little wonky, but like it like runs. But the, you know, the tachometer, the tack gauge, the RPMs do not display, which is weird. But I did see oil pressure did build, so that's good. But oh man, this is awesome. Well, probably awesome, unless the coolant seals are bad. Because if the coolant seals are bad, that sucks. Because, you know, so would have to rebuild. But, you know, maybe I don't know. Maybe this is the end of this episode. Who knows? Maybe I'll get this out because it's been like 2 months in the making. Man, we'll see. All right, this is the end of the video. Super stoked. Just turned it on again. It started. There may be a misfire. It's kind of hard to tell with my tap not working, but that's gonna be it for this video. I think in the next video I'm going to try and bleed the coolant. Probably should do that in this video, honestly, to determine if the coolant seals are good, but I'm gonna try to do that next video, and then also honestly go for the first drive. I do need to replace the slave cylinder, and I probably should address the brakes too before, but slave cylinder definitely, because, you know, clutch pedal doesn't even work. So yeah, I'm expect that in the next video. Thanks for watching. Super excited about this. And yeah, hopefully the coolant bleeds in the next episode. We'll see.